This is Show Up as a Leader, a show from People Forward Network, helping you maximize your positive impact on the world by becoming your best, fully authentic self. Hey everyone, it's Rosie. I am really jazzed to be adding my friend Claire Chandler to the lineup of great content on Show Up as a Leader. She is the founder of Talent Boost, and she just does incredible work on advising leaders on how to grow their business with intention, with purpose. And her new series that she's launching on the show is called Growth on Purpose. I've had her on as a guest a few times, cannot wait for her to bring her wisdom, her humor, and all that is Claire into this feed. She is going to be providing you with a framework and practical actions that you can lean on to be intentional with yourself, to be intentional with your teams, intentional with your business, and really building a sustainable ecosystem with your talent so that you're ultimately future-proofing your workplace. Take a listen.
Listen up, leaders. Once you attract the right talent into your company, how do you retain them rather than scare them away? Find out in today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Growth on Purpose podcast series, where we are replacing the head junk and self-imposed barriers to the growth of your company and getting real about how to expand your business without losing your best talent. I'm Claire Chandler, founder of Talent Boost and leadership therapist to world-class organizations and purpose-driven leaders around the world. If that sounds like you, or someone you strive to become, consider this your much-needed therapy session. For the next several minutes, block out any distractions, be fully present, and listen in. Throughout this podcast series, we're diving deep into the Growth on Purpose methodology, 4 pillars that, when implemented in the right order, enable you to seed your business with the right talent and nurture that talent so your business can achieve perpetual growth. In the last 2 episodes of this podcast, I unpacked the first of the 4 pillars, which is aspiration. Aspiration is all about giving the right people a reason to believe in your company by attracting them with such a magnetic message that they can't wait to come work with you. Think about people who work for highly mission-driven companies. People like my mom, who during my early childhood worked as a teacher in a Catholic school. Or my friend Kim, who works for a nonprofit organization that raises service dogs for veterans and first responders living with PTSD. They know they get paid far less than their for-profit colleagues. They do it not because of the salary, but in spite of it. Because they passionately believe in the cause, and they know their unique combination of skills can be put to good use there. Now, wouldn't it be great if those businesses could pay those dedicated, loyal, engaged employees what their dedication and loyalty and engagement are actually worth? And if the businesses that do pay better didn't think that was all they owed their employees? That's why pillar number 2 comes next and is so important in retaining the people you're working so hard to attract. So in this month's episode, I want to start unpacking pillar number 2, which is awareness. This would be a great time to take out your Growth on Purpose assessment report and turn to the awareness section. Wait, what? What? You haven't gotten your report yet? What are you waiting for? Okay, seriously, hit pause on this episode and I want you to go take the assessment. It's free. It takes you 5 minutes. Go to growthonpurpose.com/assessment and go take that quiz. It's easy. It is chock full of yes or no questions. You will breeze through them if you know anything about your business. And as soon as you hit submit, you're going to be redirected to a summary page of your results. And not only that, you will get emailed a detailed report of your results with customized recommendations. If you do all that, you bring that report right back here. As we unpack these 4 pillars over this podcast series, you are going to get some mind-blowing recommendations that are going to increase the ability of your business to grow and expand. And okay, I'll just calm down. Just do this favor for me and for you and for your business and for your team. Hit pause, go take that quiz, meet me back here. I'll wait. Okay, so grab your growth score. Pay particular attention to your score in the awareness pillar, and let's dive in. Now, if your current score under awareness is lower than you'd like, you're probably seeing signs of this gap throughout your company. Symptoms like employee absenteeism, high turnover, my favorite, employee presenteeism, where people kind of show up, they go through the motions, and they do just enough not to get fired. By the way, did you know that about 1/3 of your employees start looking for their next job on day one of their current job? So you have a brief window within which to help everyone overcome their buyer's remorse. Because every time you lose an employee, even a mid-level performer, but especially a high performer, you lose not only money, and we know all the statistics, you lose up to twice their salary. You lose not just money, though, you lose momentum. Every time you say goodbye to an employee, you lose a little bit of forward progress. And the more employees you lose, the less likely you're going to meet your growth milestones. And not only that, with every lost employee, you have to return to pillar number 1 and worry about how to attract the right next talent to fill the void. And, by the way, every time you change employees, whether you lose one, you hire one, you acquire a group of them, it causes a ripple in your organizational culture. Now, sometimes that impact is slight. Other times it's profound. That's why it's so important to implement these 4 pillars in the right sequence so you could have a bench of warmed up candidates ready to step in. Here's the reality. People leave because of their managers. We already know that. They stay because of their colleagues and because they enjoy and feel good about the work that they do and the environment in which they do it. The awareness pillar, the second pillar in the 4-pillar methodology around growth on purpose, is designed to help you fulfill the second of the 4 basic needs of your employees, which is to give them a place to belong. Pillar number 1, aspiration, helps you give the right people a reason to join your company. Now they need to feel like it's somewhere they would like to stay for a while. A place where they can do work they feel good about, alongside colleagues they actually enjoy spending time with, for a company that supports their success and their well-being. Now, one of the best ways to give the right talent a place to belong is by finding out what they enjoy doing, what they're good at doing, how they prefer to get their work done, and what motivates or energizes or makes them feel rewarded. Now, I know right now you are thinking, if only we could crack open those people and find out what makes up their chewy gooey center, right? Okay, ew. So maybe you can't do that literally, but you can uncover what makes them tick. And once you do that, it's game on. There are 3 things you want to decipher when we metaphorically crack open your employees and find out what drives them internally. And you want to decipher that in every single one of your employees. Well, at least the ones you want to keep. The first thing you want to uncover is how they prefer to operate. Are they oriented toward results, toward getting things done? Are they oriented more so toward experience that people around them are having? Are they oriented toward process? Are they list builders? Do they love their step-by-step process? Or are they oriented toward quality, toward getting things right, not just getting things done? When they encounter problems, do they attack them with vigor? Or do they sit back and deliberate a little bit? When they interact with people, are they optimistic and outgoing, or are they guarded and reserved? Are they a calming presence for others, or are they spontaneous and at times frenetic? And do they tend to challenge the status quo or worry about going against past precedent? These are all different ways of working, and as you uncover them, they give you clues as to how your people do their best work, how they prefer to show up and lean in or sit back. And there's no right or wrong. It's a preference, right? But it's important to understand what those preferences, what those working styles are. The second thing you want to uncover in your employees is why they feel motivated to do anything at all. What energizes them? What feeds their internal reward system? I'll give you some examples. Some people refuel by taking time each day to exercise or to meditate or to somehow restore that internal balance in their lives and in their work. Others are super competitive and they like to see a tangible return on their investment of time or money or effort. Some like to do things their own unique way, and they feel rewarded when others notice them for that uniqueness. Still, others like to be in control and take accountability for leading the team to victory. Some feel motivated by helping others improve or get better. Others enjoy putting structure and processes and rules in place, and still others are fed by learning and acquiring knowledge for the sake of just learning. Do you know what motivates your employees? Have you ever asked them? Better yet, start with you. Do you know what actually revs your engine? And are you intentionally and consciously feeding that every day? If you're not doing that, how are you finding out what motivates the people around you? So that's number 2. The third thing you want to decipher in your employees is what they are actually naturally good at doing. I don't mean accounting versus sales versus machine maintenance. I mean how they are hardwired to process information and make decisions. Did you know that well over 90% of the decisions we make every day, we make unconsciously without slowing down to think about them? We don't stop. Our brain just sort of processes things on autopilot without us slowing down, realizing we're doing it, being even conscious of that. These are things like walking, breathing, blinking, and then a lot of the other decisions that we make based on situations that we encounter. And when we're in what's known as a high velocity environment, typical work environment, right, where you've got a lot of information, a lot of data coming at you from all directions, the faster you have to make a decision, the more likely your brain is just going to function on autopilot and make that decision based on how your brain is hardwired to process that information. As an example, some people have this natural ability to read the room and understand the impact a decision or situation will have on others. Some people can walk into a problem or a situation and immediately see multiple solutions or multiple exits or multiple ways through and beyond that particular difficulty or challenge. Some people have a natural ability to make connections between ideas, between people, and to see how things fit into the larger picture. And some people still have a combination of any of those talents, 2 or 3 of those talents. And so the trick is not only to understand which natural talents, you could call them fast lanes, your employees have. It's to then adjust their roles so that they spend as much time as possible on activities that play to those strengths. Let me say that last part again, because so many of you leaders mess this up. Love you, but this is therapy, so I need to hold up the mirror to you, right? Once you figure out what your employees are naturally talented at, what motivates them, how they prefer to operate, adjust their job to align best with their fast lanes and what motivates them. Don't try to adjust the person to fit the job description. Trust me, job descriptions are so much easier to change than people. And you already know this, but for some reason, most companies, most leaders, and I'm looking at you, try to alter the person to fit the role. And this is just another way that you're overcomplicating this people leadership and this business building and this growth thing. So stop it. All right, enough abuse. Therapy is partly tough love, right? So stay with me for a second. So I was working with a client not too long ago, and he was struggling with somebody on his team who was a fairly low performer. We'll call this employee Andrew, not his real name. And Andrew was highly intelligent, and he seemed fully qualified for the role that he was in. But for some reason, he kept missing deadlines on a project that my client had assigned to him. And so I worked with Andrew to uncover these 3 elements that I talked about. I wanted to know how he preferred to operate, why he felt motivated, what energized him, and what he was naturally good at doing. And when I gathered that data, because this is data, and I compared it to the core responsibilities of the project that he was leading, I immediately saw why he was failing, why he was underperforming, why he was missing deadlines, and why he was struggling so much. The deal was that Andrew was motivated by creating systems and structure and processes. And that was great because a large part of leading this project was exactly that. It was exactly putting together new structure, new processes and procedures that were completely within topics that were in his wheelhouse. So check that box. That was great. That was a natural fit for him. But core to his success in that project was that he was expected to meet regularly with various stakeholders and solicit their input on the processes that he was designing and gain their commitment to the new structure he was planning to implement, because this was partly a change management project. And it was also, he wasn't going to fulfill all the processes on his own. Once they were implemented, they had to be delivered by the business. And so the stakeholders within the business had to feel like they had some ownership, some skin in the game, if you will. And so he had to meet with them regularly and interact with them proactively, understand where they were coming from, and incorporate their input and what mattered to them in the design of the ultimate new structure. And that's what tripped him up. That was the barrier to his performance, because his preference, his working style, his comfort zone was not to have to interact with other people on a regular basis. That was just not what he enjoyed. It was not how he tended to operate. And since he shied away from that type of interaction and didn't feel energized by it, he constantly procrastinated that key facet of this project that was core to its success. And that's what made him miss deadlines. And that's what made him get branded as a lower performer. It jeopardized the success of the project, and it negatively impacted his own reputation as a reliable performer. And so when you looked at the data of what made him tick, what that gooey center of Andrew was compared to what he was expected to do in order to succeed, in order for his performance to be defined as high level, we had to sort of flip the concept of managing Andrew on its head. And so instead of trying to change Andrew, I had his manager adjust his job. And so what we did was we actually had the manager assign to somebody else on the team that portion of the project where he had to engage with these various stakeholders. So I had him identify somebody else on the team who was more outgoing, who clearly did get energized by interacting with other people and experiencing their world and their worldview. And it freed up Andrew to stay focused on his wheelhouse, his fast lane, and do it in ways that fed not only his internal motivators, but aligned with his preferred mode of operating. And so not only did that keep him motivated and keep him productive, it enabled him to lean into his work rather than avoid the parts he didn't feel good about doing. And once we made that switch, his productivity skyrocketed. When you align an individual employee with their natural talents, their fast lanes, what comes to them naturally, and what they enjoy and are motivated and energized by doing, you increase their engagement, their productivity, and their sense of accomplishment. When you do that with an entire team, let alone an entire organization, your profitability goes through the roof. Goes through the roof. When you align the people in your organization with what they are naturally good at, what they enjoy and feel fed by doing in ways that they prefer to operate, the sky is the limit. Don't believe me? I want you to think about the last time you were in the zone, where you were so engrossed in what you were doing, so fully immersed in that task, in that activity, in that moment, that you lost complete track of time. When you finally looked up and noticed how much time had passed, did you feel satisfied with how you had spent that time and what you had accomplished? You know you did. And that's my point. When you put that to work in your business, you will get growth on steroids. The good kind, by the way, not the scary kind. So those are the three elements. Those are the three things that if you could metaphorically or literally crack open your employees and get to the heart of, it would really give you some actionable insight into how to retain your employees and how to put them in the path of greatness. By the way, there's a fourth piece of the puzzle that you're going to want to decipher in each of your employees if you want to not only retain them, but also maximize the value they give and get during their tenure with you. But I'm going to cover that in a future episode. So make sure that you tune in for this whole series because that fourth piece is a doozy, I promise. All right. So again, I know what you're going to say. This all sounds great, but these are human beings we're talking about, and I don't have time to interview every single employee to find out what they would rather be doing instead of what I'm paying them to do. And it's not like we can measure their fast lanes and motivators. Okay, slow your roll because we actually can. We actually can measure that gooey sweet center of every single one of your employees. And I have the easy button for this. And if you're good, and if you send me a nice, friendly email at claire@talentboost.net, I will give you access to that easy button, absolutely free, so you can find out for yourself what makes you tick and see if we hit the mark and see if I can actually measure what I say I can measure. And once you do that, you will start to understand how that inside knowledge would come in handy when trying to retain your people. Deciphering what makes your employees tick is a great first step in increasing their self-awareness. And it goes a long way toward firmly planting this awareness pillar in your business. Now, I've said this before, but it bears repeating. I know this full methodology in all its 4 glorious pillars can seem really overwhelming. But this podcast series is designed to break it down into pieces that are easy to digest and action steps that are simple to implement. The goal is to build a business and lead a team you can be proud of in ways that fulfill you. And that goal is way easier to achieve than you think it is. You're just overcomplicating some of the initial steps. So don't fret. I'm here to help you get out of your own way. That's what leadership therapy is all about, to take you from barriers to breakthroughs. Next month, I'm going to walk you through an exercise that will help you kick this awareness pillar into high gear. It's going to take everything you thought you knew about succession planning and turn it on its head. Because let's face it, you keep talking about how you need to create a succession plan for the key positions in your business, but you never actually get around to doing anything about it. And every time you find another hole in your talent pipeline, you kick yourself because you don't have the right ready now talent to fill it. Am I right? Yeah. So we're going to change that. Meet me back here next month. For today, though, I want you to take 2 really simple actions. First, if you haven't already done so, and I really can't believe it, and now I'm really starting to judge you, go take that free 5-minute Growth on Purpose assessment. It's at growthonpurpose.com/assessment, totally free. You get some really juicy results and a detailed report customized to your business. Can't believe how many times I have to tell you to do it. And go review your results in the first 2 pillars. Second, if you want to get that easy button to measuring what makes you tick, and so you can start to understand how you might use that intel with your employees, email me at claire@talentboost.net. And I will let you test drive the tools that I use for measuring those 3 components absolutely free. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep going, keep growing, and do it on purpose.
I'm Rosie Ward, and this is Show Up as a Leader. To learn more, head over to peopleforwardnetwork.com and, of course, hit that follow button.